and it just needed a pad reshimming and a new screw. So, but it's fine now.
Welcome, Luke.
Hi guys. Hi Judith. Hi Vic.
Right.
How's everybody doing?
Good, good.
Fine,
Over
thank
here in
you.
Austin.
Great. Thanks for coming. Thanks for
I
showing up.
went to
Thank you,
see.
Vic. Thanks,
Yeah, if
Judy.
any more turn up, because sometimes people turn up part way through, don't they?
They do. We
I
we we
suppose.
we, uh, we put it up on Facebook too as well. So how's it going, Vic? What's happening?
I've
Oh,
just got my feet back. Sorry,
do you
talking
have
to
any
Vic. Sorry.
questions? Do you have any flute questions, Judith?
No, not particular ones today.
That
Okay.
I
A
jotted
couple
down a
messages.
couple before. Oh, did you have some?
Okay.
Luke, what's on the top of your list? I'd like to answer other people's before mine.
Yeah, I got one this week, and they were asking about what dark and bright mean and
Ha.
instrument what instruments represent that sound essentially. So I always tell people that dark and bright is like this generation, my generation remembers it, but the newer people probably don't. But on the stereo equipment, you could have an equalizer, and it would have
Mm.
highs and lows. So a darker flute's going to have more lower tones, vibrations. I guess it's vibrations. I'd have to ask someone it's out of my pay grade. But
Shorter,
so that's
shorter frequencies or longer
yeah, that's
frequencies for lower and shorter for higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So um, so a darker flute's going to have more of those lower frequencies, and a brighter flute's going to be like if you went on to the record the amplifier and turned up the highs. So it's highs in the sound like a treble. We still have that bass and treble, but I don't know if bass. I guess basses could be similar. So um, a flute like a Miyazawa um, is going to be brighter, and generally I'll list. I guess I'll just list bright to dark, in my opinion, as someone in the industry for a couple decades. So I would say on the bright side of things, we'd say like Miyazawa to me is a very bright flute. Senkyos can tend to be on the brighter side. Brandon Brothers, I mean, Burkhart probably, I would say Burkhart's a bright flute. And then we start to go down from the bright to the spectrum, more to the darker spectrum. Muramatsu I would say, is a darker flute or a dark flute. And then Haynes and Powell kind of kisses that line of, I think Powell might be you know, there's the Japanese makers and there's American makers, and the American makers were first. Essentially, it was the French, American, Japanese, and now the Japanese are just as good as the American food. So, but the Japanese market was really based on Haynes and Powell. You know, so I think Powell is really kind of the center of this thing I'm talking about, and Haynes is a little teeny bit dark, but this business is true as it gets. They designs from Lewis Lott. They made Haynes. They were before they were Haynes. They were called the Bay State Flute Company, and they only made wooden flutes. And then George Barrere came to the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and he was in the Paris, or yeah, I think he was in Paris Philharmonic or whatever the name of their orchestra is. And William Haynes and his brother George Haynes. William Haynes was the flutist. George Haynes was the mechanical side of it. They came from a silversmith company, so they knew silver. And the first flute that Haynes made was called the coin flute because it was made out of coins. They melted down coins. So where I was going, as you know, Vic, I go off in tangents sometimes with this, but I think they're fellow relatives. So there's I look at it like Haynes and Powell. Powell was the foreman of Haynes. In fact, I have a flute here that I'm selling. There's these Hayneses that people don't know they have them. Those seven. It's from I think it's from 6,000 serial number to 9,000. I know it's 9,000 because Gary Schocker has nine. He has a gold flute that's 9,999. and it was the last. I believe it was the last flute that Powell was there. But on the engraving on those flutes from 7,000 to 10,000, there's little Y's on the ends of the. So it says like Haynes like this, and all the S's have little things, and those are V's because Powell would engrave the V into the Haynes logo. It's so cool. It's like such nerdy flute stuff, but it's amazing. And so anyway, where I was going, Vic. So it's so to me, I look at like the American Institution of Flute Making. Haynes is the base, is the foundation. Powell came out of that, and those were the two flutes for. And I'm sure many of our, I mean, some of our listeners and followers who are older, a bit older than me, remember that there was only two options basically when you were a flute player up until maybe the 1970s. Yeah, 1970s. That's when Muramatsu and then they came out in the 80s. And Brandon Brothers. It was Powell and Haynes. So that's the foundation of our flute world. And I like I said, I think Haynes is a little darker. I think Powell's the perfect or not perfect. I think Haynes is perfect too, but that's the long drawn out Luke put out answer to that question.
Well, it just makes me think of more questions. Like, I'd love to hear why they're different in those ways, but I wanted to also welcome Marcelo and Sebastian and Jen. Jen looked like she was showing us something with her flute. Y'all feel free to come off of mute or type your questions in the chat. Jen, did you want to show us?
Yeah, I'll say hello. I'm Jen. I'm in Australia, so it makes sense for my accent. Plus, it's 3 a.m. in the morning, so I've got my gown on and
Wow, thank you for
hoping
coming
that this
waiting up
works.
for us.
Yeah. Yeah, so when and I just joined a little late, so I heard you were talking about Haynes and Powell, and so I started waving my my Haynes at you because
Oh, great.
actually, a couple of things. Can I ask my question now?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. So one thing, I'll just follow up on that coin silver thing because this Mateki this Haynes I've only had for a few years, and it's tarnishing quite quickly, whereas my Mateki, which I had for 25 years, hardly got a spot on it. So I figure that I am making the coin silver tarnish quicker than perhaps the other silver on the Mateki. So would you have anything to say about that, Luke?
Yeah, 100%. So what I would say is happening is that it is the coin silver, which you mentioned right out in the beginning, is there's called coin silver still, but it's just a throwback to the coin, the actual coin.
Yeah.
And Haynes uses coin silver, and what that means is it's a different. I wish I could remember the word. It's a different alloy. So each company. Well, not each company, but there's a little behind backstory to that too. But all the major companies have their own um, types of silvers and ways they like to have them, the alloy made. And there's also different things that can affect that. There's called annealing. So you take what they'll do is it's actually heat hard. No, they soften it first, which is beyond my. So when I worked for Burkhart, you take the key, the actual silver, they heat it up, they put it in an oven, and they take it back down. So there's different processes that they do to make their own signature sound or alloy. So what I think is the Mateki. I mean, I always say tarnish happens. That's one of my go-tos. And there's a couple ways you can mitigate this. That I can tell you that'll help a little bit. But what I think's happening is the Mateki was a certain alloy that didn't react to you.
Yeah.
In this one does. But tarnish is fine other than just being pretty. I always tell people just leave your tarnish alone, have your flute service once a year. And if you're really fastidious about washing your hands with soap before you play, brush your teeth, wipe the flute down, have a servicing, get it all polished and nice. Wipe your flute down after you play just gently with a microfiber cloth, put it in the case, and put it somewhere where there's not too much humidity. You want it to be kind of dry. and you do that every single time, and I'm willing to put my brand name on it that'll last you. It'll stay shiny longer. But also, like I
Okay.
said, tarnish happens. And some
Yeah.
people, I have some people in New York City when I was there that wouldn't want me to take their tarnish off because they thought it would change the sound of the flute. Which there's a little bit of something to be said for that too, of really heavy tarnish.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I've seen some of those posts around tarnish, yeah. So, yeah, so actually why I particularly logged on today was that suddenly when I was practicing the other day, and I have a concert in 2 weeks, and I cannot get, because I'm in regional Australia, I can't get to Sydney to get it repaired. So the A sharp key now has play in it when I close it with the F key, of course.
Okay, that's a
And
simple fix. We can do it right
right.
now.
Oh, wow. I'm
Do you
here.
have any, I don't know if in Australia it's the name the same, like Scotch tape.
Yep. Yes.
Okay,
I know
so
what you
all we
mean.
need is a piece of Scotch tape
Mm.
and scissors. That's all you need, and we'll fix it right now. It'll be a good thing for the
Okay.
show. Okay.
Okay. I'll just get some Scotch tape.
Okay, I'll try to find a flute that's not taken apart. 1 second. Vic, can you cue the background music?
Sure,
Wow,
what you
it's
want?
fantastic. It's fantastic from this call that we can just observe how you're doing a quick fix. This is like I don't know, it's a gift for us. Thanks.
We should have
Yeah.
some Julius Baker playing.
Excellent.
Got the ringtone that I need to turn off. I think it's fun sometimes when I've seen performances of live musicians, a ringtone goes off and they play along with the ringtone.
Oh, that's cool. We gotta get that technology, Vic. 1 second, buds.
I
Okay.
think the technology is in your brain if you're going to play along with a ringtone.
That's a good point. Y'all can learn some of that with me. The Flutarian school, we do improvisation.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll start this first with the way I want everybody to put the flutes together. This is a good little segue. So when I put this flute together, I'm gonna wipe the barrel off with a microfiber cloth. The head joint off.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna take the body, the center joint. I'm gonna put my finger on the cloth and just wipe out the inside of the barrel. Then I'm gonna blow. So you're gonna get anything, the residual in there. And then you just twist it on, nice and clean. Same with the bottom. You wipe it off. You're gonna wipe off the box joint, which is the inside where your foot joint goes. This is easier than the head joint. You take your finger, boom, boom. Now we have the flute together. And I hold it like this. Everybody holds their flute like that. That's wrong. We'll do another episode on it. This is how I put the foot joint together. Just go boom. Now
They
let's
do
fix your
actually
flute.
hold the mechanism.
You do it right. Nobody does that, at least in the United
Oh.
States. So so this is what I'm gonna have you do. So I'll do it with you. Let's see. Do I have Scotch tape close by? You know what? It'll take me too much time to find my Scotch tape because I move things every day. But I'm gonna have a piece of paper that'll probably even be easier because Scotch tape's transparent. So we're just
Easier
gonna
to
take a
see.
piece of tape like this, and let's say this is the tape.
Yep.
Okay, and now you want the tape to be, see on the back of the flute by the G sharp, there's a little thing. It looks like it's called a back connector. And when I push the F down, it goes up and
Yeah.
down.
Yep.
Okay, now watch this. You take the B flat tab, right? The B flat chromatic tab right there.
Yes. Yep.
Now, when you look at that back connector, push down the B flat tab, and you'll see just the top of the two pieces
Yes.
comes up. See that?
Yes.
So
Yes.
now, this is why this is going to be a 3-second repair. You take the tape, right, like this.
Mm.
And like I said, you want to make sure that it's not overlapping. So when you push that B flat tab down, that's going to come up.
Yep.
I'm going to just put it under between that. So up. So it'll look like this, only be tape.
Yeah.
Which side will the sticky
Up,
side
fill
go
out.
on?
The sticky side is going to go up.
Onto the cork.
Yes.
A little bit of
Or
cork.
actually put it on the metal. If there's a metal part and a cork part, you want to put it on the metal. It doesn't really matter which part you put it on, but
It seems
it's
to be
better to
they're
stick to
both
metal.
cork.
So now it's going to look like this. That's what the back connector look
Yeah.
like, but it's going to be tape.
Yeah.
Now what I want you to do to
Yeah.
your tape, This is important. So this is the only part that's tricky. It's not tricky, but so you're gonna take the tape. These scissors, terrible, and then you're gonna cut it like this. So it's like tagged on like this. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then when that tab comes up, you put the tape, it doesn't matter, but if you can find sticky side to metal's better. And then you're just gonna simply push the F down. That's gonna clamp the tape, and you're just gonna take it, pull it out, it's gonna stick there. Wanna try it? No pressure.
Yes.
So what that does is
gold-
it's raising it by whatever the width of the paper is, right? Is that why it works?
That's correct. I'm gonna put you on the payroll, Vic. Look at this beautiful Muramatsu gold flute.
Oh, don't
Hey.
make us jealous.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pull out the big guns there. I have to look like I'm a big shot, you know.
It's not to be jealous. Your Haynes is a gorgeous flute, and I think it's a pretty a modern one, right?
Yes, mine is just a couple of years old, not an old one. I did have one years ago, and then I sold it and had the Mateki for 25 years.
Okay.
I love Matekis. You don't see a lot of Matekis in the United States for some reason.
I was going to
No,
say,
you
I don't think
don't.
I've even
And
heard of that brand.
They're a great Japanese
and
flute.
yes,
They
but I
they they
believe they're finished. Are they?
they did, yeah.
They're no longer in
Yeah,
production.
they're not around anymore. Mateki's gone, yeah.
In the
Long
90s,
gone.
right?
Yes, yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mateki is one of the Takumi was like a joint venture between this Mr. Very expert Mr. Tanaka from Altus and
Yes, yes.
Mateki, and
Tanaka was
they
a
did
partner.
together this brand Takumi, and they took their own ways. Mr. Tanaka started Altus, and Mr. Mateki is Mateki.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. That's some flute soap opera stuff that we know about.
Yeah.
I got another. I have another little fun fact. Vern Q Powell, the Q was fake. His middle name didn't start with a Q. He just liked the name Vern Q Powell.
Oh,
Oh,
well, tell us
okay.
what was his middle name.
I don't know. I don't know if he even had one.
Q. So be
Yeah.
it.
Look, I do also have a question. This is I tried to find out about these bats so much in internet, and ChatGPT was not very helpful either. I mean, this is where you really need to talk to the people, the artists working behind the curtains, and I consider you to be one of those. And somewhere I read that Gary Schocker preferred these Star LP pads.
Yeah,
Now,
sure.
I personally have an episode with these, as I bought my dream flute like 2 years ago, and this dream flute had special pads that were designed and manufactured by the flute maker themselves. We're going to know what flute makers it was later. So, and
I could probably guess.
oh, okay. Why?
Ask Luke anything. I know it all. I'm not OA. No, I'm just kidding.
Start
I'm
with your guess now.
AI, not AI.
If you already have a suspicion, that makes it more interesting. So start to guess now. Which manufacturer?
Nagahara?
No, not Nagahara. Nagahara is well too known.
Oh, it's not a Muramatsu.
No. Definitely not.
All right, let me think. Let me go back into the brain here. Let me see what else.
Well,
I don't know. As far as big ones, I know there's proprietary brand. Just like I spoke about earlier, there's proprietary alloys. There's also proprietary pads. But we can talk about that some other time, Vic.
but in the
I'm
end,
sorry to keep going. I'm not going to talk anymore. Let's go ahead.
you're going to figure out quite pretty quickly. But one clue would be that I had started the quest to finding the flute long ago, and maybe I'm a bit too freaky with sound and finding that instrument that would like give me room to feel the most while playing. And during this path, I found this one to be just uncannily elegant in sound. So I wanted to respect that aesthetics of the sound, and I wrote to the company and told them I didn't want to make the mistake I already had with my vintage Haynes, because I had my 1958 French model Haynes be overhauled with Strawinger pads. And it's not that it doesn't play well, it does, but the sound is gone. I mean, it's just a complete different sound that it's a beautiful sound, but it's not mine. I would put it that way. It lost a bit of bass, bass fundament. And I told this story to the manufacturer, and they told me, "Oh, we had a similar case with Sebastian, which you probably know, and we found that Star LP pads from Pisoni are the ones that match the aesthetics of this manufacturer, or the way the flute was at least thought in its time at best." So I had it overhauled with those pads, but stability has been really an issue. So my question to you is it that these pads are particularly difficult to install, or more demanding than Strawingers, for instance, or S2s or Lucien Deluxe?
That's a great question. It's funny, the dichotomy between the two paths that you're talking about, because I'm a big fan of Strawingers and old Hayneses, and Haynes pushes back on me a little bit that sometimes. And a lot of times what I find I have no preference. I like all pads. They all have. I'm a flute player, but a lot of people know I'm really a saxophone player first. I'm a touring musician, and I'm obsessed with reeds and mouthpieces. It's like it's like an addiction. I have like probably close to 60 mouthpieces or whatever.
Oh,
But so what the pad that you have is, I love Pisoni star pads, but it's funny you talk about that, because there's really kind of two schools, and a lot of people don't know this, because it's hard to find a really good flute tech, because there's the new guys, there's the younger guys than me, and I'm not that old. My birthday tomorrow, turning 43.
Hey.
oh,
And then there's the old guys who are kind of retired now. And those
Okay.
two different skill sets are felt padding and contemporary style padding, or Strawinger padding.
Okay.
And what the pad that you have is the one, or maybe the one I actually designed a pad, and it's almost like that pad, because I like that star pad so much. I use cork instead of felt, and I think it actually takes care of the problem that you're having. So a star pad is if you had like a triangle, this is a star pad, this is a felt pad, this is a Strawinger pad. Your backings of your pads are made out of like metal or like aluminum,
Yeah.
and they have felt on top of them, and they're
Mhm.
wrapped in organic material. A Strawinger pad has a Delron plastic base on the bottom, so they're both very rigid. But a Strawinger has a shell, and then there's a microfiber, thin layer of microfiber, also wrapped in an organic material. And a felt pad is what it sounds like. It's a piece of felt with cardboard on the bottom, wrapped in organic material. The organic materials, the yellow that you see in your pads, is actually pig intestines that's dyed yellow.
Mhm.
So what's happening with your pad is I love the pads. They sound beautiful. They have a mix between a felt pad and a Strawinger pad. Also, your Strawinger pads are
Exactly.
probably not installed. Your Straws are probably not installed correctly. They're probably light and back. So when they're not having back, the whole flute feels like it dies. Because I can assure you, like I said, I've worked on more vintage Haynes probably than anyone in the country, and I like them sometimes more, because those flutes tend to be sometimes a little resistant. If you're playing the original head joint, sometimes for me a Strawinger pad is better. But that's not to say that I don't have a bunch of Haynes of my own that are felt pads, because it's a different sound. It's a different reed, you know.
It
So
is.
where do you live, Sebastian?
Pardon?
Where do you live?
In Germany,
In Germany. What city in Germany?
Karlsruhe. That's in the
What's
south.
that near?
It's close to Stuttgart, maybe close to
Oh, okay. Okay, I know
where.
I know where you are. I know where you are. So is the humidity level there like fluctuate at all, or is it pretty dry? Is it pretty wet?
Oh, it is pretty humid, but it's not as humid as Chicago or New York. I mean, our summers are okay, but I think the worst summer I've ever experienced is in New York. It was so humid. I mean,
Oh, tells me I
it's
lived
like
there
an
for 20
average.
years.
Pardon?
Yeah. I said, you're telling me I lived in New York City for 20 years.
Oh,
The
sorry.
worst place for humidity. But okay, well, that's good, Sebastian. That tells me what's going, but that just informs me on one thing. So, like, if you were Sebastian calling me and you lived in Hawaii, I would tell you, get those pads out of there right now and put Strawinger pads in there. But right
Ah,
where you are, it's probably not affected. The biggest, what I have, like, I sometimes think I should charge more money for overhauls with felt pads than I should with Strawinger pads,
mm-hmm,
because and also what a Strawinger has that yours doesn't have, Sebastian, is they have what's called a stabilizer, and that's where
yeah,
Strawinger was really. I mean, Strawinger. It was Bick Brannon. I mean, Bick Brannon. They were together, and then Strawinger. It's like all my flutes. I know all the stories about what. So they were together. Then he only sold to Brannon Brothers Strawinger pads. I have some, like one around, where there's a Strawinger pad that says Brannon on the back of it, and those two work together. And then the deal, I think, I'm not going to say this for sure. I didn't hear from Mr. Strawinger himself, but I think I may have. So they sold exclusively to Brannon, and then Strawinger was able to start his own flute company using Brannon
oh,
parts,
mm-hmm,
and also become this world class, amazing change to the flute. It's funny, we call them contemporary style pads. They came out in the 80s, so I mean, they're as old as me. So, but to digress, there's a stabilizer in the bottom of a cup on a Strawinger, and it's
mm-hmm,
they came up with another brilliant idea that it has this rim on the sides, so any flute it can hit hard metal. I mean, it can hit a flat surface, and I
yeah,
put just a teeny bit of glue in there, just a small. That's another thing I see technicians do. They flood it with glue, and then the stabilizer's not stable. It's supposed to be a stabilizer, so.
mm-hmm.
So that's creating a piece of, oh, man, I should just show you. Well, whatever. I'll do it some other time. I'll show you a dissection. That's a good idea, Vic. We'll do a dissection of pads. Where I'll actually cut pads apart. Cost
Mm-hmm.
me a fortune, but I'll do it. Uh, so that stabilizer is holding that pad. There's microfiber, and there's a so it's like a perfectly flat piece of plastic, but it has to be put in correctly. There's very few people know how to pad a flute. That's what I mean. It sounds like I'm blowing smoke up my tush, but it's not. It's true. I can, on a handful, I can know how many people can actually make a flute play. It's not easy. It's hard. I don't want to
It's
do it.
hard.
No, but
No, but
but I'm,
that's the
I'm
point.
willing to bet, Sebastian. You might want to try someone else. You're in Europe, so I'm sure there's a handful of competent people there that you can
Well,
get on a train, and just have someone look at your flute, Sebastian, before you go nuts with anything. I mean, there's
I'll show it to you. Maybe you can reckon it because of the cups.
let me see. I,
You won't get
is,
it,
I
but I
can't
know
really
you
see.
know them.
I really can't see it very well. Is it a Burkhart?
No, no, it doesn't have to be Japanese or American.
Oh, wait a minute. Is it German? I
No,
can't, Sebastian. I just can't see it well. I can't see through the video well.
I gave you too close already, but I think the biggest one is Sebastian Jaco is a well-known player of this brand.
Honestly, I don't know Sebastian. I'll have to
It's a
check his picture.
Parmenon.
Oh, I love Paradon. I used to work with Paradon. I know those guys because I used to work at. I was at the repair. I was the head of the repair department at.
It was Remy Caron or
Yeah,
Philippe.
I know. Those are
Yeah,
my buddies. I love those guys. Take it to them. Have them do it.
yeah. I have to send
They're
it
in
to them.
Italy.
They
Go get
were.
eat some pasta. Eat some pasta and go on the beach. Get your feet
Yeah,
played.
yeah, I know. It's the one thing I should do. It's just that shipping to France is much more expensive because of the insurance. But that
Just
was a
fly there,
mistake.
Sebastian, or save your money and I don't know, drive there or whatever, man. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the answer. Those guys are some of the most brilliant people in the flute
they are,
business.
and the flute is outstanding. I mean, the sound is
Parmenas are the best flutes in the world. I mean,
you
I
won't
used to
find
work for
something with that sound.
yeah, yeah. I used to work for Buffet Crampone showroom in New York City, which is Buffet Crampon owns Powell, but they also own Paradon flutes.
I know.
And I was there for the acquisition, and not to brag, but I lobbied for Paradon. You know, I don't even know if I should be saying that, but I mean, I love that flute so much, and those guys will take care. Just go there, go there.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I don't know. It was a silly, stingy measure of myself, and the person
No,
who
I
overhauled
understand.
it.
Money's tight these days. It's not easy. I mean, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
but I mean, this is maybe interesting for you. The flute is very sophisticated in terms of pressure inside the tube and the resistance. It's a very resistant flute, extremely resistant. But that provides a huge core, you know, and a very elegant sound. And you asked me about Maramatsu, so I thought those flutes are for me too normal in a way. So I found in Parmenan just that. And these pads, the Star LP, are the ones that keep that elegance. And
yeah,
I want
I
to
know
ask
that
you
for that.
why Gary Schocker does also favor them. What's with these pads? What's going on with them? Why are they? I mean,
Are you talking about the pads that are in the Paradon originally, or are you talking about the sound pads?
the Star LP pads are the
Oh
ones
yeah,
that
yeah.
Gary Schocker
Well,
favors.
okay. Well, as a dear friend of Gary Schocker, I'll tell you that that's not true.
Oh,
Gary just
okay.
doesn't. Gary doesn't like Strawinger pads. He doesn't want them. He doesn't like
No,
them.
I said
And
Star LP.
he doesn't like them, or he does like them.
Somewhere I read that you installed your changed or he requested the Strawinger pads from the Haynes flute be removed and
Yeah.
changed by the Star LP instead.
Oh yeah. I don't. It may have been. I don't even remember. But I love those pads. But yeah. Gary doesn't like a contemporary style pad. I mean, like a Strawinger or a
Makes sense,
Pisoni
yeah.
S2. But because the reason Gary feels this way is because he thinks that he feels that he's that are too bright, and he doesn't own a flute that's older than that's younger than from 1955. So
Okay.
Gary had, and what I was talking about earlier, he has one of the most. I mean, he has a flute collection that anyone would die to
Dream.
have.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even want to tell you the number because I don't want Gary to get mad at me. But there's like, so many. But he has one flute that's. I mean, I was talking about earlier. It's the only reason I bring it up because he has. I haven't seen it in a while, but I'm almost positive it's 9,999. I think it is. It's a heavy wall, closed hole, 14 karat gold flute made by Powell from Haynes when he was at Haynes. So that flute
Oh.
is so special. But I mean, he's got a lot of special flutes. But yeah, he just doesn't like. And I've actually, I hope Gary doesn't listen to this, but I've tricked him a couple times by giving him a flute that has Straubs in it that's vintage, and he loves it. And then he finds out that there's Straubs he doesn't like anymore. So,
Oh, okay. So
but
his
Gary,
yeah.
but Gary doesn't inhabit the same universe that at least I do. I don't throw the word genius around, but I throw it at Gary. So he's not I mean, he's very opinionated about things that he, just like me. He's opinionated about things that he knows a lot about. But just because Gary doesn't like Strawinger pads doesn't mean the Strawinger pads are bad. It just means that
No.
Gary prefers that. And what you were saying, I mean, there is also, like I said, I touched upon, there's proprietary. Well, there's difference in alloys, which changes the sound, the frequency of the sounds, the highs and lows, and pads change the sound of the flute. But it doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just a thing. And obviously, when you're paying $3,000 for an overhaul, you want to think that you know. And that's where, like, Haynes, I think, veers people into that direction instead of Strawinger, but they're not even doing the work, So I'm not dissing Haynes either. I love that. I love everybody I'm talking about so much. But a Strawinger pad's going to be brighter, and the sound pad's going to be darker. They both have inherent qualities that make them maybe not better, but different. A Strawinger pad's going to be more stable than the Pisoni, because the Pisoni's a hardback and it's a felt, and felts compress. Felts move with the weather. Felts do
Okay.
all kinds of screwy things. That's why I also, in my fast talking, was talking about how I should charge more for felt padding. Because felts, I have to do an overhaul and do a felt pad job and watch it. I hang on to it. like if I could be accused of anything in this business is like that, I promise people things are gonna be sooner than they come because, you know, who knows what I just needed to. Once it leaves this bench, I've blessed it, and everything else is up to the universe. I have no more control over that pad job. And on a Strawinger overhaul, I can overhaul that and be done with it, play it for a day, 2 days, and ship it off to the client in Illinois or in whatever, and go to bed at night knowing that you know nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. It's nothing gonna happen, but it's gonna be a stable job. I probably won't see it for too long. They won't send it to a COA till 3 years instead of 1 year, and that's a big thing that people don't know too. Is you got to service your flute annual. You don't even know that it's leaking and it's leaking. But so yes, Strawinger pads are brighter than the flat pads you have on, and the original pads that Paradon makes are darker than that and more stable. That's a great pad. I love those pads. I can't get them because they make them at Paradon. I mean, maybe if I begged and pleaded with them and told them I would put it all over flute form or something. But those are great pads. That's like one of the most highly engineered. That's the most highly engineered flute I've ever seen in my life. It has crystal it has jewel ball bearings in it. I mean,
I don't know
it doesn't.
the sound they have, but I thought interesting that if you say that someone that favors vintage flutes, such as Gary Schocker favors these Star LP pads too, then there is something in there, like I mean this darker sound.
Well, sorry to interrupt you, Sebastian, but like I mentioned before with Gary, like you can't. I mean, one of the reasons why Gary is, or I should say, one of the traits of geniuses and people who are very brilliant is they don't get stuck on something. You know, like if Gary, for instance, I took some lessons and stuff when I was in New York City with Gary, and like you know, 1 month he'd be talking about all your posture, everything being perfectly relaxed and everything. And then, this, I'm just going to say something just to be it's not what he said, but like, let's say he was thinking about your embouchure and puffing your cheeks to be that relaxed. Then next month he'd say, you know what? I think we shouldn't puff out our cheeks.
Okay.
Instead the low notes. So he takes what he sees in real time, what's working for him, and it's working for the universe because he's so happening, and then he'll sit and he'll spread the news, but he's adaptable, like I said, I probably put those pads in one of his flutes. I don't remember. It's been 20
Okay,
years
it's all
since
right.
because I've known Gary for 20 years, and that's the best thing I can inform people on this show is to just listen to this show, is saying, like, there's different qualities, there's different things, there's different flutes. Like, I wouldn't put felt pads in a Miyazawa. I mean, I could, but I wouldn't, because it's just not, it was built for that platform. Whereas Paradon flutes were built for the platform of their pad.
Yeah.
And whereas, Muramatsu has a Muramatsu Lotus pad. It's only Muramatsu. Nagahara has a pad. It's only Nagahara. But then Powell and Brandon and Burkhart and Arista and all use Strawinger pads. I mean, that's kind of become the standard operating system of high-end modern flutes.
Is any one of you here in the call, because I don't want to keep my case too long, into vintage flutes?
I am.
Are the ones? Where are the other ones? I think I took too long, Luke. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. There's plenty of people on the call. It's just I'm not even very good at
Just
going back and forth.
To finish my point, I can't start much with new flutes, with modern flutes. But
Yeah,
all
I
of
know
my
a lot
other
of
flutes outside of the Paradon, all were made before 1980.
yeah. Well,
Maybe it has to do with my sound privilege.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm in the same camp as you, Sebastian. All my personal flutes, except for one, I have a Weiston McKenna flute I love. That's a modern flute. Are vintage flutes, and I'm a jazz musician, and I hear a certain sound. Like Hubert Laws is my hero. I'm honored to be his friend, his repairman, but he's my favorite flute player, and his favorite flute player was Julius Baker. So there's a sound that we have, and that sound is internal to everybody. You know, no one in this chat, no one in the 100,000 people of our community in Full Form have the same concept of a flute sound.
Yeah.
And depending on so many factors, I would say the main factor is what I just said. Who's your biggest influence? Who do you, is Emmanuel Paoud sound the sound that you want? Is Galway sound the sound you want? Is Hubert Law sound the sound? You know, we could keep naming off the people who sound. And do you listen to them the most? Is that what your brain hears? You know what I'm saying? And equipment, obviously, if Gary picks up he plays this beautiful gold flute, and then he picks up a brand new Brandon Brothers off the factory floor, which he despises new flutes, he'd still sound like Gary Schocker. He'd have the core of Gary Schocker's sound in the flute because it's Gary Schocker. Like it's Sebastian Fernandez, like it's Vic Wheeler, like Judith. I can name them everybody. Marcelo, you know, and we're just the conduit for that sound from here to there. And the thing between us is a flute, but it's just a tool. And certain different tools have different purposes and qualities. Even the same tool can do the same thing, but just be doing different ways. Like this snips something and this snips something. They're the same thing, but they snip something a different way. So that's an etherical, universal, cosmic answer for that. Your head, you hear a sound, and then you can get equipment that helps you get that sound in a certain way. You might hear really dark, but you want to get brighter because you're the first flute player or whatever in some orchestra, and you need to project more, or you think you need to project more. You're probably projecting just fine. So then you get a brighter flute, and in your brain you want a dark sound. You still have a dark sound, but it'll be a little brighter because you're playing a brighter flute. You know. So my tailored answer to you, Sebastian, is go to Italy, drink a little vino and an extra pasta up for me, and get that flute playing by my boys there because they're geniuses, and they'll put the right pads in and they'll make it cover.
They are artists, really, truly artists, and they understand sound and acoustics like few other do. That's true.
They're there, you know. There's the major ninjas in this industry, and they're in that crew. I spent some time, like I said, when I was working with Buffet Crampone, I had the for a few days, and they knew a whole lot, and they're innovators. There's not a lot of innovators in this. Well, I shouldn't say that, but there's not a lot of innovation. Like I've shown this before. This is a 148-year-old flute. Like, how much innovation do we have? You know,
It's an old
but
French one.
we do. We have a lot of innovation, but you know, Parmenon, like I said, they make one for people who don't know. Look at Parmenon flutes in Paris. It start with a P, right? I'm not a good speller, but you could look it up.
I
Use
will write it
AI.
down.
Yeah, but go look at their website and just don't have me tell you how crazy they are. Just go look at their website. They have a flute that's all there's like no D. Do you know what I'm talking about, Sebastian? There's like no D. The dark D sharps on the top. Oh, that's what it is. All the
I
tone
show
holes.
you, but
All the tone holes are on the top
I
of the
know.
tube.
Yeah.
Even the G sharp, the thumb key, the D sharp key, every single tone hole on the flute is on the top of the tube.
Yeah.
And to have that concept, and their concept is the air oscillates down the tube. So when you blow into the flute, you're sending a wave that goes like this down the flute. And when the wave hits the G sharp tone hole, it goes bing and it bounces. And then that
Yeah.
wave bouncing changes the oscillation from the G sharp, and it hits the D sharp, which is not in line, and it oscillates again. So their idea is that the spin goes all the way down the tube with no
It's less
resistance.
turbulence in the tube because all of the
Right.
chimneys and tone
Yeah.
holes are on the same line. You have less turbulence. When you have less turbulence, there is it's difficult to explain, but
it's more efficient. It's a more efficient way to oscillate air down the tube. But I mean, just to know that is crazy. And then, like I said, I'm a major watch fanatic. Like, I don't know if this one's enclosed, but if you take a watch like an automatic watch, and you look at the back of the watch, and people know what an automatic. So you'll see this is an automatic, but you can't see the back. So you'll see those springs and things moving, and you'll see a red diamond-looking thing. It's a ruby inside the watch. And Parmenon in the king post. So this is called a king post. I'm doing a 148-year-old flute. The king post is right there. It's between this key. So it's between it separates your G keys and what I call your F sharp key, the key above your F. And that's called a king post because that post holds the left and the right hand sections in place. So if that king post gets knocked this way, this way, this way, this way, your whole flute's messed up. And when I drop, the first thing I do is I go into the flute and I get the king post correct because it's the king post. But those two parts have a male and a female part on both sides. And I'll have to say, the Japanese do it better than Americans do. But there's reasons for both. So on Japanese flutes, exclusively, I think, into the king post, there's two cylindrical pieces. So those go into the king post. This is the king post, female, male, and it goes like this, bink, right? Left-hand section, right-hand section. And that causes, what we're trying to do is prevent wear inside the king post. So over time, those two parts moving create friction, which breaks down the silver, the gold of the platinum.
Yeah.
So what Parmenon does, I should have Parmenon, those guys on here, tell them exactly what they do, but they put a ruby in the king post so that the two pieces rub against the ruby, just like they do in a high-end watch.
Oh, the
that's where
mechanism. It's so nice.
That's like, it's, yeah. This should be I should have Parmenon send me a check for this one.
Is anyone, all of you, Vic, Judith, Edgar, and Marcelo, are you in the States, all of you?
Yeah, I'm in Texas. I asked them if they want to come on. That'd be cool.
I'm in the UK.
Judith, oh, okay. So I think that we are, particularly in the United States, but the world is pretty much like dominated by Japanese makers and then American. But living in Germany, I've had the privilege to get the complete other point of view of flute manufacturing. And I'm not going to say how much tradition and knowledge there is in Germany on flute making.
Oh my goodness. I would go out on a limb and say the best piccolo ever made is from Germany.
Which one?
Do you know what piccolo? Do you know which brand I would be saying there, Sebastian?
Minard or what? The piccolo maker.
I think Braun Piccolo is the most advanced piccolo.
Brown. Oh yeah, okay, Brown. Yeah, he's very well.
Braun.
Yeah.
Minard's great too, but is Minard still around?
Minard, yes, they are, and they have more success now because of their young Robin Minard. He's a very young. He's now like 25 or 27, but he's got like he learned with Dana Sheridan and I think with I don't know who else.
If not Dana Sheridan's enough.
I mean, with Sheridan and Biggio, and then he melted that with the German tradition and created his own head joint, and it's giving quite a lot of I don't know. It's being a hype nowadays. Minard and the latest technologies they're using are incredible, and their flutes are just incredible. I just don't want to say. I can't afford them. That's a problem.
Wow. Well, I have to visit them when I'm in Germany next. Speaking of Gary Schocker, is wild. I think it was this year. It was this year. I had some flutes for sale, and I had some. I do a lot of consignments in my inventory, and I only take the flutes that I only take special flutes, really. And Gary had a Minard that was an old one.
Okay.
It was closed hole silver, but it was 5% gold.
Oh, I remember that one. I remember,
and it had a Bakelite head joint. Lip plate on it. So Bakelite's like it's just like a plastic essentially, but it's a little harder. But it's from probably in the 50s. We thought at one point it was ivory, but I don't think. I hope it wasn't ivory. But it was so beautiful. And someone on Flute Forum, Melissa, I wish I could remember her name, but it doesn't matter. Someone who in the community bought it, and I'm so happy she has it. She loves it, loves it. But yeah, I mean, I tip my hat to Germany. I mean, Hamegs, you know, both Hameg brothers, Minard, Braun. I mean, Germany knows how to make things, that's for sure. My only problem with Hamegs is they're so over-engineered, just like everything else from Germany, that it's a pain in the ass to work on. But I mean, I like all my cars are German, but they're always in the shop.
I just pasted the link for the ones that don't know. The website of Minard is very beautiful. Take a look at the pictures. They show quite a lot of what they have, and the photography is outstanding. And
That's amazing.
I know them because I don't live very far away from them, and they service my other. I have a Minard flute, I must say, and they are incredible people. They're such artists.
That's amazing. I want to reach out to them. That one caught me off guard, man. I'd like to. I mean, and could you also, Sebastian, put in the link the Paradon website too?
Oh yeah, of course, definitely.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, this was a beautiful conversation. This is maybe my favorite so far, and I really appreciate you all. And we're here every Monday at 1 p.m. Ask Luke anything, and I think we got some content today, Vic. Just for this, we could go on forever. Just the things we touched on today, really, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got some questions lined up for next week. This stimulated more questions, of course. Y'all can find the replays in the Flute Forum School. There's a whole category of posts called Fireside Chat with Luke, I think is what it's called. So you can find those there. And if you think of questions between now and next Monday, feel free to drop them in the comments there, and we can put them on the list. Anything else?
Beautiful. Lead with love, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry for my long time.
No, it was beautiful. Thank you, Sebastian.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.